Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1.
Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the schmoes know, this is Meet the Movie Press, roundtable movie news and commentary from the industry's premier film journalists.
Happy Friday, everyone. This is Meet the Movie Press. It is 9:15 a.m. on a Friday. How's everyone doing out there? How is everyone? I am Mark Reilly, managing editor of GeekNation.com.
Jeff Sneider, managing editor of Nothing. Film reporter, TheWrap.com.
You should manage and edit over there. That's just me. Hey.
No.
How the hell are you? I know, right?
I'm exhausted.
Hey, we got Sundance in the house.
That's right.
You were taking a helicopter into Park City.
Oh, it was so cool. And they shut it down a few days later, so I was like glad that I got on while I still could. But
because of a storm or something?
No, it was just that the locals were complaining about all these helicopters flying over them at all hours of the day, like back and forth.
Wow.
But yeah, my colleague Matt Donnelly arranged it through the service Blade, and it was me, him, and my boss Sharon Waxman on this helicopter, and it was awesome. I felt like Schwarzenegger, like coming in commando style.
Dude, I was watching your Vine or whatever it was, and I was because I'm not a good flyer, but I think I could do that. Helicopters, you don't hear about helicopter crashes much.
I felt very safe.
Yeah.
It was just cool to have like the headphones on, the cans, and you're like speaking into each other like that. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the highlights of this year's festival.
Right on.
Lots of good movies, lots of bad movies. We'll discuss all of that and more.
Yeah, I know. We missed you last week. El Miembe in the house.
How did he do?
He did great, as always.
I knew he would.
And we talked, we took the opportunity to be, and it was a big DC week, so it was kind of, he was representing, so we talked all about that. But I do want to get your thoughts on a few of the things that we talked about last week.
Yeah. Let's just like rehash, and then we'll get into the Sundance stuff.
That sounds perfect.
So like I know last week there was a new Suicide Squad trailer,
right?
And then we had a Wonder Woman trailer.
Scenes. It was like behind the first footage. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Suicide Squad, I loved like the colors. It was like it blew my mind.
It had pretty colors.
It was far out.
Yeah.
But I did prefer the first trailer to the second trailer with the Queen.
I did too. In fact, I went on Twitter. I didn't know what to think of it when it first hit, and I watched it. I went, huh, and I put it out on Twitter, and I went, the tone felt off for me. I don't know. I totally dug it, but talk to me. And I got a lot of people saying, it's rad. I love it. Across the board.
I'm still down with the tone. I wasn't expecting something so kind of light and jokey.
Yeah.
I showed it to my roommate last night for the first time. He hadn't seen it, and he said he preferred the first one too. I mean, the day right before I left for Sundance, I published the Wrap's top 10 uses of music in trailers, and
nice.
Suicide Squad was number 1.
Oh, that's great.
I thought that Bee Gees cover that they used in the Comic-Con footage, or essentially that became trailer number 1. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as big a fan as the Queen stuff, although it went along as far as the editing of the trailer went. It seemed to fit.
Oh yeah, it did, and I slowly warmed to it, and that now I love it. I mean, I do love it. But thinking back to the Comic-Con one, yeah, I like that one more, and what I just really saw from it, maybe why I stopped, was I'm like, okay, here's the brass coming in to try to make it very accessible for a wide audience.
Sure.
And because the first one was really for the fans, and they didn't, and AIR didn't want it out there.
Interesting.
So that's what I thought.
Always forget about that first look was not supposed to ever hit.
Right. They didn't want it, but they finally relented and sent it out
it's
there.
like you can't just co-opt Bohemian Rhapsody, which is forever owned by Wayne's World. Like, no other movie is going to just make that theirs.
Yeah, you're right.
We're just forgetting that Wayne's World happened.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. So, I was having a little issues with it, but in the end, I love it.
Like, it's still maybe my most anticipated movie this year. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And the movie, what didn't look as good was Wonder Woman. You
didn't like Wonder Woman, huh?
That time period, and it just, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
It left me a little cold. I wanted something a little bit more.
I'm the superhero apologist.
You loved it all.
No, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it because she looked great. I mean, I'm sorry, Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
she looks
but
great.
you have to do more than look good in these costumes.
I
don't
get
know.
it. I get it.
I'm still skeptical that she can make me.
Yeah.
Root and feel for Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
But we'll see.
I mean, I dug the look of it's like World War One, so that was interesting to me. I mean, and it's hard to judge. I mean, there was just like three
it
shots.
was like 30
and, You
seconds or something.
know, I think she looked. I mean, yeah, I was struck by just how gorgeous she. I was like, that's Wonder Woman. Well, yeah, okay, I'm there.
I didn't watch the actual special that Kevin Smith co-hosted.
I did not like the special. I mean, I can come out and say it right now, man.
Yeah.
It's like Kevin Smith was just doing this, wow, bazinga, ga, woo, yeah. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
I read Devin
Jeff
Faraci's
Johns,
piece on it, exactly.
yeah.
And
Devin Faraci wrote a great piece, and Jeff Johns should be the face of DC and kind of talk more. And I think it was just really, you should have seen the episode. I love Kevin Smith, don't get me wrong. But those two were just like looking at each other.
it was an odd fit, huh?
Yeah, Jeff Johns is just like, this guy's got energy. Okay, yeah, no, we're Green Lantern Corp's
Sure.
coming. And he's like, Green Lantern Corp? Yeah! And it was like, okay, yeah. Cool.
Yesterday I did an interview with French GQ.
Okay, I saw
GQ
this.
France or whatever.
This is now Meet the International Movie
That's
Press.
right.
What happened there?
No, they reached out for an interview, and it was most of the questions, not to spoil this guy's article, were like about DC and Marvel and
Okay. Star Wars.
No,
Okay.
nothing about Star Wars. Just
Yeah.
the DC Marvel stuff and whether DC needs its own Kevin Feige. And I sort
okay.
of was talking about Devin's article about Jeff Johns, who oddly enough, in the middle of Eddie the Eagle last night, started following me on Twitter.
Jeff Johns?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
There
yeah,
you go.
it was an exciting night.
He heard you were talking
I
about
guess so.
him.
His ears were burning.
My God. He's got spies.
But like, sorry.
Yeah. That's right.
The author was the writer was sort of asking me if I think DC's characters will be able to sustain their own movies like Green Lantern and Cyborg and that stuff, and are they lesser than Marvel? And I don't. Yeah, I think that they're equal. I
mean...
I don't think that Marvel has a better stable of characters than DC.
Yeah, well, that goes back to all the way back when they're like Iron Man, and it's like B level.
Right.
They're B level guys. It's like, where's Spider-Man?
Yeah, there's only a handful of the A level stuff, but
Yeah, and Marvel made Iron Man, Thor, Captain America now A-listers. I think DC can do it too.
I know Flash and Green Lantern better than I know Doctor Strange.
Yeah. What do I know better? I don't know. I guess I could say. I mean, I know Batman well, Superman, and then Spider-Man, and then Marvel.
So, anyways, it's just it's interesting that we're not just that's not just a discussion amongst the fans or here in the States or anything. Like, this is a worldwide conversation that's happening, but they were very smart questions. It wasn't just like which is better, DC or Marvel, like
right?
The fanboy thing. Exactly. It was so I look forward to that article, and I'll share the link on my Twitter when the writer sends it to me.
And I will retweet. I want that out there. That's cool. That's really cool, man.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And the other thing, Kroll and I, the night before I left for Sundance, Kroll and I went on Jerry Ferrara's podcast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
the B4B podcast. Jerry Ferrara obviously played Turtle on Entourage.
I love it.
And we just talked
that
about
guy.
like the Oscars for like 2 hours at Jerry's house. It was really cool.
He's such a great guy.
Really super nice. And so, if you're a fan of this podcast, tune in to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he came on Schmo's No Main show. And he's a fantastic guy. So
what else did we miss last week? Anything?
I mean, it was a lot of just DC. It was all. That really took a lot of the news. I mean, everybody talked about the Suicide Squad trailer, the first look of Wonder Woman, the confirmation of Green Lantern kind of coming with the Green Lantern Corps.
And I see it now, I guess, spoiler alert or whatever, there's a lot of discussion about Darkseid.
Yes, Darkseid. Empire Magazine released a bunch of images from Batman, Superman, and one of them looks like Batman standing over, I don't know. Like,
there's an Omega thing, right?
The Omega symbol. Now, I am not up on my Darkseid but I could tell that was the Omega sign, right? Guys out there, we are on the live chat / YouTube Popcorn Talk Network. You guys are all on here.
Is this a spoiler though? That he's in the movie?
I think they're hinting for another
right.
Movie. I think they're setting up.
I reported
Justice
this
League.
in June 2014.
Did you really?
I got my tweet right here. No Martian Manhunter in Justice League, ? Not according to this agency grid, which lists Darkseid as the villain.
For Justice League.
June 2014 for Justice League. So
yeah.
Martian Manhunter, it says they're casting. And it also says Maxwell Lord.
Yep.
I tweeted that in June 2014.
See, you're on it, buddy.
They may have changed it, of
no,
course.
I think you're...
I think that they are casting Martian Manhunter.
I hope so, because he's great. I love Martian Manhunter. And I think it is Darkseid, and I think what they're doing with that image is they're setting up Justice League.
Yeah.
That Darkseid is going to be the villain.
Yeah,
Makes a lot of
that's what I
sense.
think.
They even said that they came out and said, we were a lot... When they started talking about adding Wonder Woman into the movie, they were like, we're a lot closer to Justice League than we thought. Mm-hmm. Now, that, for me, that's news. I'm like, how close are you? I mean, we went from Man of Steel to basically Justice League, with Batman v Superman. Mm-hmm. So I guess they worked out the story that they're close. So behind the scenes, I don't know. For me, everybody compares Marvel. I'm sorry, I do too. And they set up Marvel movies.
Yeah, but how many fucking movies have set up with Thanos can we get before we actually see Thanos in action?
Very true. I totally agree. Now we're like, okay, the post-credit scenes on Avengers Age of Ultron is like, we get it. He's got the Infinity Gauntlet. Let's go.
Was there anything on Star Wars or Marvel that we missed last week?
Star Wars, I don't know about... No, I don't think any Marvel. Star Wars moved. Episode 8.
Star Wars moved, as we sort of predicted that it would.
Yeah.
Because I told you guys, 2 weeks ago or whatever, that Ryan was going to rewrite the script and kind of beef up the characters that we were just introduced to in episode 7.
Yep.
Because there was such a positive fan response. And so those new characters, which all the reporters have sort of been waiting to see who's going to play those new characters, they've been scaled down a little.
Right. And to beef up, the Rey and
right.
the
So
Finn
it's like, I know we had mentioned Gina Rodriguez and Belle Powley and that kind of stuff, and that the role went to someone else. Yeah, that's because they didn't really need, why would Gina or whoever waste their Star Wars eligibility on a small role, essentially?
Right. You know what kind of worries me? When you brought that up and said they were beefing up the script for the characters because they were somewhat surprised, maybe, that those characters did well, Rey and Finn and all that, it just occurred to me, I went, you mean that was in the plan all along? I mean, that's what Force Awakens was, right? It was, here's Rey, here's Finn, here are your main characters. Were we going to get all new characters? And they went, oh, whoops. It just seems... I was like, I thought that was the plan all along.
I can't say for sure what the plan was. I just know...
Yeah.
That there was going to be, introductions of they opened the door to this universe, and then it was going to go out like this, and you're going to see more and more and more. But
they went,
they're keeping the focus a little bit more narrow now.
Okay, I can dig that. I mean, seriously, and Rian Johnson, I trust, and I trust Lucasfilm, and I trust Disney. Disney's
great.
Don't
you love though how the bloggers the spin that the bloggers put on it, where it's like, give Ryan the time he needs. Like it's because they're all
No, I mean,
buddies with him.
I got I know. I got everything from I got tweeted at like, oh my God, it's in trouble. To he just needs more time and it's great and this and that. I mean,
and let's also be clear, like this is also, it's not just a script thing. Obviously, it makes sense for Disney to move that to December.
Yeah, something
where they just had a ton of success with Star Wars 7 and
and that's what was so
funny.
And
the toys.
Somebody was saying, I can't remember where it was, but they were talking about. I mean, Avatar and Titanic were the biggest movies all time for so many years. Both came out in December. Right. So a lot of people were like, oh, Star Wars going to December is not going to make as much as, say, Avengers because it's not in summer. So it's great to see that...
Everyone goes to the movies, around Christmas.
The holidays.
And that weekend between Christmas and New Year's when nothing's going on.
Yeah.
And then you have a few weeks into January where there's no competition. Like, opening in May these days... you're up against the Memorial Day movies and then the June releases.
Every week a new blockbuster comes out, and that would eat away at Star Wars' box office.
Yeah, there's a lot more breathing room in December, so I'm not really surprised that they did it.
Yeah, and I love that they're doing it, and I can't wait. I mean, geez, I'm a Star Wars guy. I love it. I do want to get your opinion on this, because there's some... Joe Blow dropped some information about Vader being in Rogue One, but with a bigger... role.
Yeah, bigger. That was exciting.
Yeah.
I like Darth Vader as much as the next guy. Who's going to be playing him?
I don't know.
Has the actor already been announced and we just don't know?
We don't know, but I hear... So what they're saying is that they made 3 really detailed suits. The hero suit for the close-ups, the stunt suit, and then whatever the other suit is. And that there's some concept art, and they're beefing up the part of Vader being Vader, which, okay, I went on Twitter and I was like, fucking yes, do it, I want this, because I'm a nerd. But Vader going on to battle and like decapitating rebels using the Force. This was actually said in the report. He's using the Force and grabbing a rebel soldier and using him as a shield. That
could be cool.
I mean, come on. I love that
I don't want to see rebels decapitated. Then it becomes like the end of Fantastic Four, and it's just like a totally different tone.
No, I know. I think that, well, we've had decapitations a lot in the Star Wars universe. So
I don't know.
The way they shoot it, I mean, it can't obviously be blood and all that, but so that's the going theory now going out, and, you know, whether it's confirmed or not, you know, like I say, came from Joe Blow, very reliable guys over there.
Of course.
But this is stuff like when you're talking like your Justin Kroll's over at Variety and your Boris Kitts and you over at The Wrap, you're not reporting on that stuff. You know, you're reporting on casting.
Yeah, no, we don't do the plot details.
Exactly.
I mean,
So-
if it's part of a larger scoop, we might include it, but
Sure.
I wouldn't do a standalone on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty. I think it makes a ton of sense to put Vader in Rogue One. It lines up in the time, you know, in the time period of the movies, and he's around. Why not put your most iconic villain of all time in your movie when you have toys everywhere already? So, anyways, that's the Star Wars stuff.
All right, let's switch gears to Sundance.
Please
There's
do.
plenty of other news that we'll get to it towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that we have a lot of time for Sundance. So,
Yeah, me too.
grill me.
Tell me everything. Okay, first off, like, did you go to a lot of parties?
No, I'm not a party guy because I don't
know.
really like to drink.
Okay.
So
because like, what's the scene there when you're there in your capacity? Is it just like constant work, go to sleep, and then back at the grind?
Yes.
Because I saw all
it's
your
seeing as many movies as you can, and you know, if you can write about them in between, great. But you know, unless it's like a big like in competition movie or like a hot acquisition title, I'm not going to write it up immediately after. I want to see as many movies as I can because I can write about them whenever.
Yeah.
So yeah, the best movie that I saw was Manchester by the Sea,
Okay. I've been hearing
which is the Kenny Lonergan family drama with Casey Affleck, and I just thought it was devastating.
I've heard. Yeah. I wanted to ask you read my mind. Start with your favorite.
Amazon bought that for $10 million. I don't know who they'll partner with for theatrical or whatever, but
Right.
I just thought it was tremendous.
Yeah. And Casey Affleck, like Oscar worthy. Correct. That's what I'm hearing.
I
at
mean,
least.
there was a lot of Oscar talk, a lot of exaggerated Oscar talk up there.
I think that's
I think Manchester by the Sea is the sort of movie that wins Indie Spirit Awards.
Okay, got it. That's pretty cool, though. I mean, yeah, and then
I'm all bubbly from this Diet Coke. Sorry.
I know he's burping a lot, folks.
But yeah,
Diet
Manchester by the
Coke.
Sea was absolutely terrific. I loved Goat, which just sold this morning to Paramount and MTV Films.
I was wondering. I hadn't heard about Goat yet, but you had talked about it. I wanted to hear about this because that's my most anticipated because I like the subject matter. I have a personal.
From the first shot, I thought like this is going to be good.
Is it okay?
And Ben Schnetzer was terrific.
Okay.
You know, Nick Jonas was good. Better
Right.
than I thought he would be.
Okay.
There was a couple of newcomers in the cast in the fraternity who I thought were also really impressive.
Okay.
But it's just like, you know, the scene, it's about this kid who was attacked and then he pledges a frat. So the attack has nothing really to do with the frat hazing that comes later.
Okay.
But the way that this attack is staged was just, it was terrifying.
Okay.
Make sure you know who you're driving, folks. Like,
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Oh god, I hate that.
it's just like, oh my god, if I was an Uber driver, I'd have nightmares watching Goat.
Dude, so many Uber drivers are getting attacked now. I saw some.
I saw some girl, yes,
She was a
female
doctor. She's a fucking doctor.
That's alcohol, folks. That's what happens.
Yeah, be careful out there, folks. See, just when you think you're okay and getting home safe, some drunk doctor is gonna beat you up.
So yeah, Goat was really good. I like the opening night film, Other People. Which featured a terrific performance by Molly Shannon as Jesse Plemons' mom who has cancer.
Okay.
This movie Slight from J.D. Dillard, who worked at Bad Robot for a few years.
Oh, okay. Nice.
It's about a street magician who deals drugs and has to like save the sister.
Ooh,
that
sounds
was really
interesting.
good, and that got bought by Blumhouse and WWE. Oddly enough.
Wow. Okay. Blumhouse. Interesting.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff. Swiss Army Man was very divisive.
Yes. Okay. I wanted to ask your opinion on this because But yep, sure enough, the headlines came out, and we went back and forth. Do we put fart in the title on this? We did, and because we saw it all over.
It's SEO friendly.
Yeah, it's SEO friendly, fart. But so this movie, Daniel Radcliffe plays a corpse,
yes.
correct? Who and it's farting and an erection and all that.
Yeah, there's all
stuff.
kinds of fantastical shit going on.
Yeah, and not in the Harry Potter way.
Now, I walked out after 40 minutes. I'm not a big walkout guy.
Okay.
I'd like to stick with it, but because Swiss Army Man started late and was running up against another movie,
okay.
I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Now, were you cool with that? Where you're like, yeah, this movie's pretty shit anyways, I'm out of here?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, listen, people think I got a lot of shit for being unprofessional or walking out of a movie.
Somebody was just on the chat saying, not that, but saying, you're a film reporter, not really a film critic. So
right. So I didn't review it, nor did I cover it. My boss was there, fortunately, and she covered it.
Okay.
So the only thing that where I weighed in on it was technically on my Twitter feed. And I was probably a little harsh on it for some first-time filmmakers, but I just thought it was so pretentious.
Yeah.
And these guys are known as the Daniels. They're a music video team. They've done some really impressive music videos. And I think it's fine, to be known as the Daniels. It's like a cute little thing in the, if you're working in music videos or commercials.
Right.
But like the opening title card said, a film by Daniels.
Really?
Either Daniels or the Daniels. And I was just like, right then and there, I was like, what the fuck? Put your fucking name on it. This is your first movie. This is not the commercial world. Okay.
I get that.
I mean, Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe are obviously two really good actors, but Daniel Radcliffe's taste in indie movies has been questionable for some time.
Well, I think he really wants to...
could use a change.
Yeah, I think he really wants to go, see, I'm not Harry Potter anymore. That's
sure.
what I'm getting a little bit.
My problem with this movie was not the performances, which were pretty dedicated, and they obviously went along with what was asked of them by their directors. But just creatively, I don't know why, if you're like a music video director and you're finally getting a chance to make your feature film debut, why this could possibly be the story that you want to tell about a fucking farting corpse.
I have the story in me, and it just needs to get
an
out.
An erection compass, and I just can't wait to see where that sells and for how much, because it was unfucking watchable.
Yeah, and it just seems more. I can't comment on the pretentiousness of it, but it just seems kind of like a shocker kind of thing to get people in. There's
a lot of discussion at Sundance. Some people really liked it. My boss really liked it. I spoke to plenty of other people who really respected what it was going for and that it stuck with them.
Okay.
And maybe I'll go back when it hits VOD or whatever, which it inevitably will.
Okay.
And check it out. But I had to get out of there. Same thing with Greasy Strangler, which wasn't like a bad movie. It just wasn't for me. That was one of the midnights, and it's produced by Elijah Wood's company, another company that I'm just not on the same page with creatively.
Okay, yeah, they're the kind of more horror, right?
Yeah, but I didn't really care for Cooties or The Boy, and just like the stuff that Spectre Vision has been making isn't necessarily my cup of tea.
Got it.
And this was pretty ridiculous, The Greasy Strangler. I also hated, the only other movie that I really hated was Dark Knight, which is like a very slow observational look at events that sort of parallel Aurora.
Oh,
Mirror Aurora.
Okay, yeah, the theater shooting.
Yeah, because
like that documentary, right?
No, this is a feature. Somebody wrote this, even though it feels like a documentary.
Oh, I thought somebody said it was maybe a documentary, but yeah, okay.
No, it feels like a documentary, but it was agony.
Okay. How about Yoga Hosers?
Yoga Hosers was a disappointment.
Yeah.
And I love Kevin. Kevin's my boy.
I know.
And I really liked his last two movies, Red State and Tusk. Which,
I loved Red State. I haven't seen Tusk yet. I gotta get on that.
Tusk is like really fucking effective.
Yeah, I've always loved Kevin Smith, even when he whiffs sometimes. Maybe I
like Jersey Girl. I don't think Jersey Girl's nearly as bad as
Jersey
Girl
out for me is Carlin. I just love Carlin.
The only bad movie that Kevin has really made up until now, which he didn't write, was Cop Out.
Right. Yeah,
and this may be worse than Cop Out.
Ooh, okay.
It's definitely on the level. I just thought it was like preposterous.
Yeah.
His daughter stars along with Lily Rose Depp, and I have no problem with the girls.
Sure.
So, sometimes the direction is a little indulgent. It should cut out a little bit earlier.
Okay.
But it just goes to this really bizarre place that I did not enjoy.
I saw I saw stills of the
Bratzies.
Is that what? Yeah,
It's little foot-high sausages
Right,
who
that
are
come to
Canadian Nazis brought to life by this mad scientist that crawl up people's asses. And it's like, right then and there, I think I've said enough.
I got nothing.
I like the Clerks parallels,
nothing.
casting his daughter and Lily Rose
Sure.
as Clerks, and
But,
I even like Tyler Posey and Austin Butler, who play like I like Kevin Smith's take on a high school movie.
Right.
It had me interested, but the second half goes off the rails.
I can't even comment on
Yeah.
that. How do you comment? I gotta see it now.
I saw a woman fall for a wolf in Wild, and the wolf goes down on her.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I'm
There's a wolf sex scene.
just processing that. I mean, this is Sundance here,
Yeah,
so
this is Sundance.
this is
for sure.
hey, independent. We need these movies. I'm
Trash
sorry.
Fire I can finally talk about, in which a 75-year-old Fanula Flanagan masturbates while watching televangelists on television.
Yeah,
She just
give
gets
for
off
the
on the
Lord.
word of Jesus.
Oh, okay. Wow.
There's a lot of fucking weird shit.
Oh, Kevin Smith.
So, but the movie that we really need to talk about.
Yes, we know where we're going. Birth of a
Yeah,
Nation.
It's Birth of a Nation.
This was. I mean, I followed this pretty because it's so interesting now because I think it comes at the time. Man, this is lightning in a bottle because of the hashtag going on with the Oscars, and then this comes out. Nate Parker writes, stars, directs. It's sold for
17.5 million.
Fox Searchlight.
Fox Searchlight.
Highest, the biggest Sundance.
The biggest finished the biggest acquisition of a finished film at any festival.
Yeah.
There were $20 million deals for like Story
Netflix.
of Your Life,
What?
the upcoming Amy Adams movie.
Oh.
That's like before it was shot.
Okay, got it.
That's
got
like
it. That's like a packaging
right.
thing.
So $17.5 million. I was the Wrap got to report Fox Searchlight's $16 million bid before anybody. So I
Yeah.
left Sundance with my head held high on the
Good,
deals
man.
front.
Yeah.
I felt like we were out in front of that, and when people were sort of saying, oh, this is a bidding war and it could go to Weinstein or Netflix or Sony.
Right.
We kind of just stuck to Searchlight, because if Searchlight wants a movie at Sundance, that's where you're selling it to, unless the bid is like a slap in the face.
Yeah, see, and that's where it kind of came out that they realized Fox Searchlight is the correct home for it, because it's going like 12 Years a Slave.
So,
they're
yeah.
able to really get that out there. They're going
After
to do
the
the
premiere,
same.
the filmmakers were seeking $15 to $20 million MG, minimum guarantee.
Okay.
And obviously 17.5 is right in the middle of 15 to 20.
Right.
Now Netflix offered 20, as did Byron Allen's Entertainment Studios, although I'm not
This
sure
was
if they
interesting.
took that seriously as a bid. It's no different than if you or I emailed WME and said, I'll pay you $20 million for Birth of a Nation. That technically is a bid. It doesn't mean that they're ever going to go with our bid.
Yeah.
So I don't think that Byron Allen really had a shot, but he generated the publicity headlines that he was going after.
Okay.
So Netflix offered 20, because when you're Netflix, you have to offer a little bit higher.
Yeah. They're players now, man. I dig this.
But they were pushing for a day and date release, and Nate wanted this film seen in theaters.
Right. That's where I was going with it. And like, would Netflix stream it and release it in theaters at the same time? Is that what they were?
Yeah, like Beast
do?
of No Nation.
Correct.
But most people probably saw them. If you look at the box office tally, most people saw that on Netflix.
Yeah, and that's where I'm with Nate Parker on this. Like, you want it in the theater. You want it to get that.
For sure. And there was something palpable about being in that room for the first screening. Obviously, there was a sort of electricity in the air, this buzz that you were part of this powerful Sundance moment and that kind of thing. However,
Okay.
talk about timing.
I know.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So Birth of a Nation is a very impressive first feature from Nate Parker, who's also very good in the movie.
Okay.
It is a good movie and nothing more. I couldn't believe the critical consensus, and I fell victim to it too, because for fear that Twitter would kill any white critic who dared to say anything remotely negative about it. And I didn't have anything negative to say,
right,
but I would definitely have cut back on the greatness and that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah, and it's walking a line right now, because I brought up the Oscars and the diversity issues going on in Hollywood and how you want it looks like this is an answer to that, and I think
Sure.
They want like see, and I'm all for it. But let me let you. Does it merit? I can't speak on it. I haven't seen it. Does it merit the?
It does not, and I don't see how anyone can even argue that it does. I mean, I guess a movie is worth what anyone is willing to pay for it.
Sure.
I don't know how Searchlight recoups its investment here.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, 12 Years a Slave took off once it was nominated for Oscars, but it was also a masterpiece. It starred Brad Pitt and Fassbender and Cumberbatch and all these people. You take the 10th most famous person in 12 Years a Slave, and they're still more famous than Nate Parker.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that this is going to have a real trouble recouping its investment, obviously, unless like the critics
just come all out and say this is
outside of the Sundance bubble,
right? Because it needs to do that. I mean, let's see. So, will it be nominated next year? And
obviously, we don't know what kind of competition it's going to be up against, but
right.
I spoke to a lot of people about Birth of a Nation, and many felt that it was like a very well-made TV movie. He obviously, as impressed as I was with Nate Parker, both in front of and behind the camera, he's no Steve McQueen. He's no Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Right.
And that's no 12 Years a Slave. And it sucks that we have to compare them. Like, you have to take these two really well-made black films and, like, pit them against each other.
Yeah.
But the comparisons will be inevitable.
I mean, that's where it started with Fox Searchlight talking about 12 Years a Slave and how they marketed it and how they got it out there. So I get that. It's inevitable.
Yeah, and this has like a 1,500 screen commitment or whatever for, that counts as a wide release.
Okay.
And again, I don't know if that's the best call for this movie. Like, my parents aren't going to see this movie.
No. Yeah.
It's man, I can't wait for you to see it because
I want to see
really is going to spark quite the debate. And again, I asked my boss because in my initial story about it, I called Nat Turner a legendary hero.
Okay.
And then I'm questioning, well, is he a hero? He's a slave who led a revolt and just murdered 50 white people.
Okay.
It wasn't exact. It's not like they were at a war and he slaughtered like women and I don't know if children were involved.
Right.
But I just. Obviously, Nat Turner did important things, and I'm glad that somebody finally made a movie about him. There have been a couple other films, but like from years and years and years ago. But yeah, it opens like this sort of moral quandary of like, is this the sort of African American leader that we should be glorifying? I don't know.
Okay. Hey, I respect your opinion. I got to see it to make up my own opinion, and I think it's like I said. I just hope it's not an answer to this, like, here's a black movie. See, like that's just the only thing I don't want. I want it to be like
it certainly arrives at the right time.
That's
again, I don't think of things as like a black movie or a white movie or whatever.
Either. I hate that. I hate saying that, and it's. I mean, because I don't look at 12 Years a Slave as a black movie. I look at it as you said it. It's a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece. Is Slight, that movie I was talking about earlier, is that a black film because it's mostly black people? I don't think so. I think white people will really enjoy Slight if they give it a chance.
Yeah, that's where we are. With this conversation and in diversity, it's like that to have to go back. It's like we are going. How many people have said we've kind of gone backwards? Yeah, now we're backwards saying. For 12 Years a Slave, like I don't remember it being like, see, diversity. It was just like 12 Years a Slave is going to win,
right?
Because it's a fucking good movie,
right? On its own merits, and it's like. There was something about the reception at Sundance where I felt like the film was Birth of a Nation was not being judged on its own merits, and it was more about the circumstances and the timing, the situation that it arrived in.
Yeah.
And so the other thing that I wanted to discuss on today's show is sort of about the Academy reform.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm glad. I want to talk about this too.
So like, what do you think? Like the Academy made a bunch of changes.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's kind of in the same thinking as Birth of a Nation, where it's like they're reacting to the fact that the diversity
overreacting
and one could argue that, and I tend to agree with you because it's like I said it when Miembe was on because I wanted to get his opinion, but it really has got to start at the studio level and start with just getting more movies out there. And I was listening to something about Straight Outta Compton, where they were trying to do the comps, what's out there that was like it, and they were like, Get On Up, isn't it like that? And it's like, no, it's not. And so you can't compare it to anything else. That's what the comp mean. When these studios are going forward to make a movie and they're like, well, Get On Up came out. There was a black guy in that and it made this. It's like, and they're like, okay, maybe we'll hopefully get this. And then Straight Outta Compton comes out and it gets up here. Man, again, it's just, no, that's a good fucking movie. That's a good story.
I can't say why the Academy overlooked Straight Outta Compton other than...
I can't either.
It doesn't immediately jump out as an Oscar-type movie, and I think that Universal did... I think that there is truth to the fact that Universal maybe realized it too late.
Right.
That they had something kind of special and zeitgeisty on their hands.
I think it's the one movie that really, really got snubbed.
It was in, it was number 3 for me in the year. Where did it fall in your top 10?
Top 5.
Yeah. We
top
both
7.
loved this movie.
I can't remember. Yeah.
And it was way before the awards conversation sort of started swirling around it.
And I can get Creed not being nominated. I really can.
So can
because
I.
It's just like at the end of the day, it's a Rocky movie, but so well done. Don't get me wrong. But Straight Outta Compton really did something special, not only in the performances and the writing, but it showed an era that was so important in our history and did it so well. So why not? I mean, that if you really look at it, it's like that is an Oscar movie. That's an Oscar caliber type movie.
Yeah, but it's not the experience that the older white Academy can relate to. And so anyways, I think it's a good thing that the Academy is trying to reform and recruit, more diverse members and open up its ranks and that kind of thing. However, what they are doing, they're going about it so the wrong way.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is that Cheryl Boone Isaacs, her background is in PR. Okay. And so she doesn't, she wants to lead the conversation rather than sort of
there you go.
Sit back and be passive and let people talk about the Academy. So the Hollywood Reporter has been running all these open letters from members of the Academy, and I love all of them because they all seem to be really negative about the down on the idea, which again it's absurd.
Yeah.
You're kicking out this older people or people who you say haven't worked as much in in order to right the wrongs of one group, they're getting rid of another.
Yeah.
It just seems so misplaced.
Yeah.
And it's so reactionary. And
that's what it
why?
feels like.
Because there's 20 white acting nominees.
Yeah.
Where was the egregious omission? I don't think it's Will Smith. I think if there's any egregious omission, it's the fucking kid Jason Mitchell who played Eazy-E.
Yeah.
He's the only one with a real bone to pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Idris Elba was good. Will Smith was good. But yeah,
Well, I know, and now, I think we're coming around where everybody's even taking all this in and going, then the conversation starts with, well, is there merit behind these performances, these movies, and all this kind of stuff? And again, I don't want it just for sake of, here's a black movie. So, it's got to start.
There's this idea that if we have more black people in the Academy, then we'll get more black actors nominated or more black films nominated. And that shouldn't be the goal.
But let me ask you something, because I found it interesting. Well, no, finish your point. Sorry.
I just also, these changes are sort of affecting the Best Picture category because that's what everybody in the Academy votes for.
Right.
The problem this year was really within the acting branch. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's the acting branch that votes for the actors.
There you go.
So I don't know why we're cutting out documentary filmmakers and editors and people like that who obviously are not going to work as steadily as, some major actors in the Academy. Mm-hmm. It just seems such a misguided idea. Yeah,
in Zeno Hour, our boy Zeno Hour was always commenting. He said the Academy overall they're out of touch with film today. And you can, the comment, the dialogue is there's old white guys in the Academy. Now, what I wanted to bring up is Cuba Gooding Jr. went on The Herd, one of my favorite sports.
Colin Cowherd's?
Yeah, Colin Cowherd's. And he said, I didn't even vote. And he's in the Academy because Colin Cowherd brought up the diversity. What do you think? Mm-hmm. I found it kind of interesting that Cuba Gooding was just like, now everything comes in emails and I just delete. Oh, maybe if I voted. So should you put a little bit on him for not put it on him, but I just found it interesting that maybe he wasn't aware of it in his mind, and then he just deleted everything, didn't vote, and then the big thing comes out and he's like, oh, well, this is what happened. I just found it interesting that he didn't vote.
You would think that everyone in the Academy who has the ability to vote would exercise that.
Yep.
That right.
Right.
So I guess that's surprising that he just said he didn't vote, but
yeah, he just deleted his emails. So I don't know how it works. I'm not a part of the Academy. I don't know. I guess it's now coming via email, and you got to look it over and do something. And
I don't think that the Academy is out of touch, and frankly, I'm fucking terrified if by out of touch it means let's let in younger members so they can vote for fucking Captain America: Civil War. Like that's what people our age and younger.
Yeah,
we don't have better tastes than older people.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
frankly, it terrifies me if that's what we're getting at.
Yeah, and seriously, that's a legitimate concern. I would be the same way. I wouldn't, if I was asked to be in the Academy, I would have voted for Straight Outta Compton, easy.
Sure, if I had a ballot article, it would have been included for sure.
And a stretch for me, as far as a comparison would be Star Wars, but maybe vote for Star Wars.
But not getting on doesn't mean you blow up the Academy and you change all these rules. Like
no, it's
the press. It's the press that's feeding the shit. If the press, and we do it because it's clicky and people read this shit. It's not what we necessarily believe,
right?
Like when at Sundance you have the talent. Mm-hmm. So we probably interviewed 60. If we had 60 movies, 4 people. It's like we interviewed almost 200 people probably at Sundance.
Yeah.
And so inevitably this question came up specifically with like the older people, like Danny DeVito. He's an Academy member, so we asked him his thoughts on this kind of stuff. Everyone ends up like putting their foot in their mouth. Everyone ends up saying the wrong thing, whether it's Julie Delpy or Kristen Stewart, and it's just like this PC culture that really just exists on Twitter, which is like 1% of the population.
Right. Yeah.
And then these things get blown out of proportion. It's all media driven. It's fucked up.
And
so the way the system is just.
We talked about it last week too. Her name escaping me. She was on a British French talk show, and she was just like brought up
Charlotte Rampling.
Charlotte Rampling. Thank you.
Yeah.
She was like, no, did they it's racist for calling me, or
it's true. Like,
and then that took
and then
over
Danny DeVito's like, well, we're all racist, and Julie Delpy's like, well, I wish I was black. It's better than being a woman. Like,
yeah, and I reacted.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
you can't win because.
Yeah, that's
we will blow everything out of proportion.
That's where I'm in agreement. The PC stuff is starting to get. You're like, come on. I mean,
it's terrifying for me as a reporter when I can't be honest, really, after something like Birth of a Nation for fear that I'm going to get lynch mobbed. So that's a terrible analogy, not a lynch mob, but
I get what you're saying.
That the Twitter hordes are going to come after me with their pitchforks.
Well, yeah, and that's it's God. This is getting into. I love this conversation.
Yeah,
actually. This is great.
It's a conversation worth having.
It's the thought police. It's 1984. If you
fucked
can't
up, man.
say, you know what? No, I don't think any black actor deserved a nomination this year. Like, they're gonna go after you.
Yep.
And that's just an opinion, because they won't even grab my soundbite from a few years earlier where I said 12 Years a Slave is a masterpiece that should have won everything. I'm glad it did.
Right.
They wouldn't even bring that out. They would say what you just did now. You'd be pitchforks. You'd be thrown off Twitter. Right. You're a racist and go home.
And it's not about your actions anymore either. Like it's just about that one soundbite that they can take out of context and whatever.
It's kind of,
and it sucks that I'm a part of it at times.
No, I am too, and it's kind of sad. And I mean, and not just black actors. When I look at Sicario, how the hell is Benicio del Toro not nominated? Mm-hmm. Okay, how the hell is that? Like,
but what do you like? I know how it is because. It's a very subtle performance. And when you look at the supporting actor category, like there's no person who's like, oh, that guy doesn't belong.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's all very.
SNL did a great parody of it with their Oscars So White sort of sketch.
I missed that.
Did you see it? Oh, you should check it out.
I know.
Where it's just like white people, wandering into a scene and they're the ones who get the nomination.
Oh no. That's awesome. That's funny. It's no, it's not.
We're
it's
at
not
this
true,
inflection point in this country with regards to race and art and that kind of stuff. And
yeah, I think
I just want things judged on their own merits, and the color of a film. It doesn't come into my mind. But maybe that's my white privilege talking, and I see my world reflected back at me.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I grew up and it just I didn't know anything about race. I was very lucky and I had black friends and Mexican friends and blah 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 across the board. And the only time I realized that there was some shady shit going on in my Orange County, which is so white, I get it. But we were in a line of cars going to a wedding, and my two black friends, Monty and Jamal, were behind me, like, driving, I think my sister at the time, because they were friends, and like it was a line of cars, and the cops like moved in between cars to pull over my friends.
Did they really?
Oh yeah, and my friend Monty, who's a lawyer, by the way, he's just like, motherfucker. Like, and I pulled over and I go, oh God, really?
That does exist.
That
out
exists.
there.
So I get it. My God, this is like, are we going to get killed on Twitter?
Probably. But like, if a white filmmaker made Birth of a Nation, does the movie get the same critical reception? Does it get the $17 million price tag?
But,
I don't think it does at all.
White writer director with Nate Parker starring, or a Will Smith. Does it get it then?
I'm not saying yes. Like if there's
no,
a white,
I'm with you because I don't.
You can't have a white
I see your
actor
point.
playing Nat Turner, but
right,
yes,
right, that's
if
what I'm
there's
saying.
a white writer director, I still think that film does not get the same reception or the same price tag.
Right. And okay, so to add some just kind of whatever the hell this is with Joseph Fiennes.
Jesus Christ, that's another one where it's like
right, because it comes right out, and I think that's another example of, and mind you, Marlon, Elizabeth, and Michael.
Yes.
Okay, it's a comedy. It's going to be a comedy.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't know if that story is actually true.
No,
I've heard that story. Okay. But to have him play Michael Jackson, and then that blew up, and now everybody's on that going, see? It's still happening.
With the white people taking our roles. Obviously, Michael Jackson looked, white at the end of his life.
Right.
That casting is still a head scratcher, and I don't know how the company behind it didn't anticipate that it would cause some furor.
Yeah.
And if I'm Joseph Fiennes, it's like, what are you doing even taking that role?
Right.
Like,
right. And I had
I don't know. It's not worth it.
Someone from England, tweeted at me from the article I shared, and they were like, no, it's like it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a satire, spoofy kind of. God, and I'm blanking on the company.
It's British TV. I mean,
yeah, so it's going to be
Sky Arts or whatever. I never even
Sky
heard
Arts.
of it.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it either. But it's because of where we're at now in this conversation, to have that come out and to be like as batshit crazy head scratching as it is, it's just funny, the timing and what people are jumping on, going, oh my God, see, and it's just I did the same thing. But I do it just more of really.
Listen, these are all good questions and that are an important part of the conversation, but we need to be able to have an open and honest conversation. It doesn't mean, a PC, make sure you toe the politically correct line and say what Hollywood wants you to say and that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah. Well, dude, I think there's a huge contingent of people that are very much into speaking their mind, freedom of speech. Please don't attack me for having an opinion. And I think that's why Donald Trump is kind of popular with that contingent, because that guy just gets up there and says whatever's on his mind.
Right.
Look,
he doesn't
I'm not
have anything to fear.
Yeah, I'm not endorsing Donald Trump. In fact, please don't vote for him. He's such a fucking idiot. But my God, I mean, he has the right to be a fucking idiot.
A race came up again yesterday when Catherine Bigelow signed on to the Detroit Riots movie, and she got shit for being a white director. Like, I hate where we are headed in this society.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
White people have to direct white movies and black people have to direct black movies. Like, what?
I thought that was fascinating. And you know why I thought she was a fascinating choice? Because of The Hurt Locker.
Yeah,
and
because she's a great filmmaker.
Yeah, I mean, that's in her wheelhouse. That's like, oh yeah, man, she's perfect for it. And now it's, okay. I didn't know that was happening, but yeah, now we're okay. Here we are. I know. Don't start everyone on Trump. Sorry, Jake Stanley.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start with Trump. There's just a point.
I mean, listen, we're not going to spend the rest of the whole show on race. It just
I
think these are questions that we have to give serious thought to, and beyond just like following racial lines or saying what
Yeah.
everyone wants us to say.
Yeah, and I know you guys out there I don't visit the YouTube comments much anymore because there's a lot of you out there that are just, I know you're going to sit here and say that, look at the two white guys talking about this and fuck
Right.
you. What
We
do
shouldn't
you
even
know?
have an opinion is what most people think. White people shut up.
That's where 2 weeks ago when we did our show about the Oscars and we talked about this,
Yep.
we were given so much hate in the YouTube section of the comments. I was disgusted. I was like, really, you fuckers? Are you serious? You're calling us out being two white guys. We can't have an opinion.
What do we know? White males, exactly. Our opinions
and
are
all that.
invalidated.
And I'm like, you know what? I was offended. Then I come around. I have El Miembe on, and I'm like, I want to hear this from you're big on diversity. I want to know your opinion. And then I get the same people going, oh, great. Now you're talking diversity more. It's like, you know what? Get your own fucking microphone.
Yeah, really. Start your own show.
So I don't appreciate it. Listen to the show. I liked that conversation a lot because it really is. The bigger picture is, look, you have the right to say what you want, and let's not.
As long as you say it in a thoughtful manner, and
people are like, switch to Deadpool. Switch to Deadpool.
Exactly. Well, it's like, you know what?
Switch to Deadpool.
Deadpool's looking like a hit. It's looking like a $50 million opener.
It's looking
or
like a
something.
50. Talk about PC though. Like something interesting happened, and it didn't occur to me. They did this PSA on Deadpool yesterday, where he's talking about testicular cancer, and it just fucking cracked me up. It was so fun. He was straight up. Deadpool was just like, no, you grab your little balls there, and he said all these funny puns, and then it ends with him going pun, and then there was a testicular cancer awareness that came around saying thank you for bringing awareness to it, and I was really like scared. I'm like, shit, did I offend? Like, oh my God, I didn't mean to. It was very scary for me where I was like, I don't want you to think I was talking bad. I was just commenting. But that's the world we
I've
live
heard
in
good
now.
things from people who may or may not have seen Deadpool. I've heard very good things.
I'm so excited because
I'm not. I'm still like, what?
Yeah, well,
But I'll check it out.
The thing that I look at is to bring up the testicular cancer awareness and like Australia Day, these PSAs, they're just fucking having fun. It's like,
They are. It's a really good campaign that they're running.
yeah, they're like the Valentine's Day posters that are like that look like a
But
the Notebook.
I still don't give a shit because it's all just marketing. Like, show me the fucking movie.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I said it in my piece. It's like you're either in or you're not.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm still on the fence, but obviously I got to check it out to be part of the conversation.
sure. And I have heard it's really good. So
The other Fox movie that I can now talk about, which I saw last night, Eddie the Eagle.
yeah, we had some people
Fucking
that were
terrific.
really.
Loved it.
Okay, because I'm not too familiar with this. Who's in it? Who directed it? All that kind of good stuff.
Dexter Fletcher directed it.
Okay.
You would recognize him as one of the stars of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
He's part of the Guy Ritchie collective. That's how he met Matthew Vaughn, who produced this film.
Okay.
Taron Egerton stars as Eddie Edwards,
Okay.
who is Great Britain's first Olympic ski jumper.
That's right, and
Hugh
Hugh
Jackman
Jackman.
is his
That's
cigarette
right.
smoking coach.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of butts ripped in this movie, which was my only real. And there is a line of dialogue sort of addressing it, but if I had gotten my question answered at last night's Q&A, it would have just been like, was there any pressure about these cigarettes? Because it's a very family-friendly film, and you don't see a lot of cigarette smoking in it. But
he's embodying the character, correct? And he was a smoker.
I don't know, but I don't even know if there was a real character. But this movie was terrific. It had me cheering. I cried.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was like the inspiration. Every year there's like one inspirational sports drama or whatever.
Yeah,
last year it was McFarland, which I really liked and was super
I did too.
underrated.
Yeah,
I mean this is like a miracle or a warrior or something like that. I thought it was awesome. Taron Egerton totally proved Kingsman was no fluke.
Yeah, good.
Definitely see Eddie the Eagle when it comes out end of February.
Can I ask you something about Taron Egerton? Can he be in the mix for Han Solo? We just haven't heard about him.
I always thought he was.
I thought so too. Wasn't he? Kingsman. No, I don't think he was in the initial list. Some people are really looking at that list.
It's like definitive. Trust me, it's not.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's going to go to someone who's not even on the fucking list.
I think you're right. Well, that's great to hear about Eddie the Eagle. I love those movies. I love the
soars.
cast. Oh, good. Hey! Pun.
Go fly to Eddie the Eagle.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad. And yeah,
Have you seen anything else lately?
Dude, I've been catching up on. I'm glad you asked. I've been catching up on the screeners because I finally saw Room. Holy shit, is that movie good? That movie is in my top 3. I don't know where yet. It blew me away. I mean, like, heaving sobs being from this guy. I was like, and it just came out of nowhere. I'm like, oh my God. I never has a movie captured me like that in a long time.
Okay. Big words. Fighting words from Mark Reilly.
Oh, I loved it. My
Brie Larson
God.
seems like she's got a date with Oscar.
Yeah, she's
It's written
fantastic.
in the stars.
How is Jacob Tremblay not nominated?
Yeah,
that kid.
exactly.
That kid. Give him the Oscar. Period. Sorry, Sly. Give it to the kid.
It's like when everyone's talking about Idris Elba. Yeah, I'm like,
amazing.
what about Jacob Tremblay?
This kid, how old is he? 7? This kid.
It was one of the great child performances, that's for sure.
When I realized, oh my God, they're going to show this. Okay, because I knew what the premise was. I didn't really know beyond that because it's one of those movies. Unfortunately, it's like I commute, so it wasn't around my local theater. I missed the press screening. Thank God for the screeners, and wow, so good. Anyways, I saw that. Love and Mercy. I've been catching up on the ones that I really missed. Love and Mercy, which I loved. I thought it was fantastic. I thought Paul Dano and John Cusack.
Another guy with beef over getting left out of the Best Supporting Actor conversation. Paul Dano.
You could argue. I could argue it. I could watch that movie again.
Yeah, it's a deep lineup. I don't know where the outrage is coming from. I don't know why we need everything to be, just whatever. I'm going to get in trouble. So
no, I think we're all going to be in trouble today. I think probably on Twitter. I'm going to probably said something wrong. I apologize, but man, I am passionate about this stuff, and I'm glad we had that conversation. I keep going back to it. What else have I seen? That's about it, I think. As far as that goes, I'm looking forward to Deadpool. I'm looking forward to...
I want to check out Jane Got a Gun this weekend.
Yeah. Is that coming out this weekend? Okay, that's right.
And part of me still wants to see Dirty Grandpa, even though I hear it's like the worst movie ever made. I gotta check it out.
It worked on the old folks. My mom's like, I saw Dirty Grandpa. He's so irreverent. I'm like, oh my God. And then her
Gotta love
boyfriend,
January, folks.
Yeah, her boyfriend was like, what's Robert De Niro doing? So anyways.
All right, should we wrap it up?
We got to wrap it up, guys. What else do we got? Anything you want to add to the conversation? That was a good one. I had fun. That was really fun.
It was tricky. I knew it would be tricky today.
Well, you know what? I like being able to say what I want to say. And,
I don't have too much else to add. I'm excited to see Kim Basinger as Christian Grey's former lover.
That's the thing that broke, sequel. And I loved
Justin's big scoop yesterday.
Yep. So Justin Kroll dropped a number of them. Yeah, Kim Basinger is now the former lover of Christian Grey and 50 Shades Darker. And I loved Devin Faraci's tweet said all the movie news guys should be disqualified if they don't bring up 9.5 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it, there you go.
Yeah.
But that's the news. That's the news fit for talking, not print. I don't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thank you for coming on and on the live chat.
I won't be here next week. I'm sorry again.
What the hell, dude?
I go back to Boston. Oh, shit.
What?
This is a surprise. We'll edit that out.
Ooh, it was a surprise.
I've got a surprise.
Okay.
He doesn't watch this show.
Oh, he doesn't watch this?
My brother. I'll talk about it openly since...
God. Okay.
Nobody tell my brother I'm coming to Boston.
Oh, that's cool.
For a surprise.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll figure something out. Again, maybe this worked last time, guys. Who do you want to see on the show with me next week? Tweet me. Tag them on Twitter. I'll see what I can do.
I'd love to see you continue this conversation with a reporter or critic of color.
Yeah, man, I would love that.
We need to try to do better on our own as far as
I agree.
improving the diversity of guests on this show. I know we haven't had as many guests as we started out with in the first year.
No, and it's hard to get a guest. I mean, it really is. I mean, we're both pretty busy. We have to go get the guests, and it can be difficult. And with this job that we do, we're kind of busy. So, anyways, if you guys want to see somebody in particular, no matter who it may be, why don't you tweet at me, @ReillyAround, and tag them on Twitter as well. And thank you for joining us. Again, this is Meet the Movie Press at 9 a.m. We start live every Friday on the Popcorn Talk Network. Hey, Jeff, where can people find you?
At the Sneider and therap.com.
That's right. And please follow @GeekNation. Go to geeknation.com. That's where I do all my magic. Love those guys over there having fun. So we will see you next week. Peace out.
producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.